It's a wet and soggy day out, so we're going to be in the shop working on this 4620. If you guys have been following along, you've already seen some of the work that's been done to it, but I'll go back through and recap a few of those things, as well as tell you more about the tractor, what we're fixing, and why. This is our 1972 4620 Power Shift with factory air-conditioned Hinson cab. I don't think too many of these were built. Only 1,800 were ever made in Power Shifts. And combine that with the air-conditioned cab option, probably as few as 400 or 500 were ever built. And that's just an educated guess based off of how many were Power Shift, how many had air conditioning, and how many were even with a cab. You gotta remember, out of that 1,800, only a few were equipped with a cab. Starting here in the rear of the tractor, thank you guys for weighing in on the tires. It's highly likely we'll end up going with the 20.8 by 38 rear tires. This tractor had the signature John Deere cast rear center wheels, which was also carried on clear up to the 50 series, as well as the 10-bolt dual hubs. The 4020s and smallers just used 9 bolts. On the cab door, this door was lacking seals, so I found seals through the Farr company, and I was not impressed how they fit. You can see here the corner was cut too wrong. I mean, it still seals, but I just don't like the way it fit. Pretty poor seal, in my opinion. But the good news is, when it does shut, it shuts tight. It all seals all the way around. So I'm not very impressed with it, but it's a lot better than a loose-fitting door with no seal. So, good tight seal for what it is. And here in the dash, we got the boots around the pedals. And we're working up underneath here in this greasy mess. It's all going to get cleaned out, and there's going to be a bunch of foam insulation there. The previous owner had put a new air conditioning compressor on, new style. We did get our radiator back in the repair shop, $375, which it's the original radiator of the tractor. It had multiple leaks in it, as well as the top cap was leaking. Repair shop did a great job. $375, and that's compared to $1,200 for a new one through Deere. So I can't complain about that. And I'm putting the foam strips on. All that's available from John Deere still. Correct part numbers. It's usually a make-it-yourself kit, but it is still available. Over on the right side, you can see we got the new fan belts in, as well as the new air conditioning compressor belt. This line here is the pressure line that goes down to the pump. And then you got your oil cooler here. And this hose and this hose was all available from John Deere still. This is the return side line, and it had a leak, and it had to be brazed. This line has been discontinued from John Deere, but this other line, whoever had this tractor before must have blown this line. They replaced it with a hose, and I wanted the original, and it still was available, so ordered it and installed it, and even had the factory original clamp system for it. So it's all getting put back to factory clamps, and factory as close as it was to the day it came off the assembly line as possible. I would like to replace this other one, but like I said, we just had to braze out the corner a little bit better. Somebody had worked on it previously, but we had to clean it up a little bit more. And just because this tractor's the configuration it is, you got a kind of one-off oil cooler here, so I'm surprised how much of this stuff is available. This air conditioning mount, or this alternator mount, because it has air conditioning and the way it mounts and the way the belt length is, it was actually kind of hard to get belts for. And originally this would have been a Motorola alternator. Just having the combination with the cab and air conditioning just kind of gave this tractor some rare options. It just makes it a bit tough to get parts for. New fuel pump, it was leaking. And of course we did engine oil filters and fuel filters. And you guys can see the original patina here. Some of this yellowing that's occurred here on the frame rail and stuff. That's from antifreeze leaks blowing on the engine. And no, I'm not going to sand it all out and repaint it. This tractor is going to be used. So, I mean, it's straight, what I'm concerned about. If you guys follow my videos, you know that I like things the right way, meaning nuts and bolts are directional. They're the correct length nut and bolts they were out of the factory. So I'm not going to worry about the paint patina. I'm not going to worry about sanding down and repainting every little part on this tractor. But what I am going to do is just make sure everything's up to par the way it was from the factory. You know, these little screws, if that's the way they went in from the factory, if there was a foam strip behind it from the factory, I pull up part schematics and I follow the assembly, you know, how it was done day one, the way it came out of the factory. So that way this tractor's got it age to it, but it's correctly installed, and it would be the same as the way that John Deere did it when it was built. We got new heater lines run in. They'd been removed. Anyway, the boots are on the pedal here, and these are a little clip still available from John Deere that hold those boots in there. Now this tractor is going to get used with a loader. We're putting the joystick in right now. I'll take you up in the cab here and show you that, but I got it mounted. And then the cables come out around the battery, and these are factory. That's the way the batteries were. They just had open boxes on these tractors. The only thing not factory, I did put a heater shutoff valve in. There is a tin panel that goes over the edge here, which we have all the sheet metal over here on the floor. So you'll never see it back there, but I did put a non-factory shutoff in. But back to this joystick, build a bracket here, and it is a John Deere joystick, and took 2 cab mounting bolts out and built that bracket there. So if you don't want it, you can just unbolt it and take it off. It looks good, it mounts well to the tractor, and if you don't want it down the road, then it's not going to cause anything to the tractor where it was cobbled on there, or hurt the tractor, so to speak. I just see too many guys that do things that are permanent mount or would weld the box or something on there crudely, and that's just not my style. And same with the battery clip there and holding bracket. It's original patina, there's no rod in it, and every single little nut and part's correct. I actually care more about having anything correct than I do having it 100% repainted. Again, this is original paint, and you can see these fenders and everything. There's no bends in the metal. Everything is super crisp, clean steel. No corrosion. It's just, that's the way I like to see them, up around the fender tops and everything. And on the lights, tail lights. That's how I like to have these tractors. That to me is more important than a repaint job. Okay, here on the rear of the tractor, this is kind of a tough deal to explain, but to hook that joystick in, it needs to have constant live hydraulics. And the tractor is a live hydraulic tractor, of course, but there's nowhere to tap live hydraulics off of. You got your main pressure line that comes up off that pump, which I already showed you. And it comes over here to a pressure control valve that was mounted in the instrumentation, down across the deck of the platform, and goes into the back of this rocker shaft housing. And you see I have the line, you probably can't see it, but I have the line disconnected back there. So we were looking for a way to tap into it, and there's just really no good way to tap into the hydraulics on this tractor. So a lot of guys were saying, well, you gotta hook in that line. So I took the fitting out back to where it goes into the rocker shaft, and this is the original fitting. We tried to drill it, and we were gonna weld a T into it, but basically I ruined the fitting. So I went down to John Deere, got a replacement, and this is a replacement. I wish I could have got the original fitting, but this is the replacement, and I'm just going to end up putting it back because there's just nowhere to hook into it. So we're pondering, how are we going to hook this joystick? And I'm not most people, so I want this tractor to look original. This cover that goes on here, which I'll show you, this cover is right here. This is the rocker shaft cover. And that piece of tin, I want it on there. So many of these tractors just end up taking the tin off the rear. I don't like that tin's going on here. So it goes right up over the SCV right here, goes straight, and hooks this bracket. So you got a gap back here about this big. These tractors were available with 3 SCVs. This plate right here between the box and the rocker shaft housing, this plate right here on the 3rd SCV had a taller plate than the other box sat in there. I'm never going to have a 3 SCV tractor, and I don't even think you can even get the levers unless you found them at a junkyard. So I went to order the plate and found out that John Deere discontinued it. But I got lucky because they're still made aftermarket. So I ordered the plate aftermarket. Then we ordered this Power Beyond controller here, which is literally just a hollowed out casting. What these are for is when you have like a 30 through 60 series, you put that in between your SCV box and the rocker shaft housing. And I ordered this cover, which there's the part number if you're interested. If you look at the side profile of this, it's not even 3 inches thick. So that will allow me to take out this single plate, put that up here, be about this thick. I can run the hoses out of the side, back behind the rocker shaft cover, and down, and there's the joystick box right there. It'll all be hidden behind the box, and I'll keep the original plate in case if you ever want to put this tractor back or take the loader off. So I'm not modifying anything. I can use my original cover, and it'll be 100% hidden behind the original cover with no modifications. This tractor, I also getting the original hammer strap. I still have the pieces available that'll go on the drawbar. View of the engine, new air filters in there. Wing nuts have been changed to plastic. Unfortunately, the original aluminum wing nut was broken, so went with the new plastic one. And up here in the cab, show you guys around a little bit. The original wheel, and you can even see the everything's original. I mean, it's original paint, and it looks good for its age. But they had the PTO here on the left, which was carried on through the Soundguard body tractors. The only thing it wasn't carried on was the throttle position and the gear shifter. Even the tachometer got carried on. Up here in the ceiling, you got your wiper and blower and your original dome light and everything. It still works good. I think the key has to be on. And on the right side, you got your heat and air conditioning controls. All original. This knob here was missing. Still available from John Deere, surprisingly. And I had one of the gauges not gauges, the lights was out, so we got it fixed, so all of our lights are working. These tractors are kind of neat. I'll turn on the field lights here. And those were a fiber optic cable, and they all glow. Original gauges, this tractor. Pretty neat. These were key start and key shut off on this tractor. It even has the original cigarette lighter in it still. And these late 20 series all had the hydraulics over on the right side, which after being around, I'm actually more and more of a fan of. I used to kind of like them, the originally 20 series, like that 4020 there. They used to be up in the instrumentation panel, but I like them over here better after using them, because you can look out your back window, and as you look out your back window, you can run your implement up and down. And I got everything adjusted so the tents actually work properly. And I made a quick mount for that joystick there, again, so it can be removed if ever need be. It is a John Deere joystick out of a Soundguard body, but I modified the wire handle, which you can still get to this handle, so I did that. But ergonomically it comes out quite well with the console there, and it doesn't interfere with these levers, so pretty happy the way that's laid out in there. And I can run back and forth between shifter and loader. So you can really see that the groundwork was being laid by John Deere for the Soundguard body tractors. In some ways, these tractors actually had, everybody complains about that door going in the middle. Well, if they didn't like it, they could buy the series previous, because as you can see, it's a square windshield. So I enjoy it. We are going to put the brown personal posture seat in here out of a 4430, which will spiffy it up some, but I don't find it to be that bad of a cab. And with the added foam insulation and stuff that's been done to it, as well as the heat tape on the floor, I don't think it's any louder than a 4430 was. There you guys go. That's what we've been doing to it. Lots of little parts and pieces. Overall, it was a great tractor to work on because mostly it was all there, and it's a great original sheet metal tractor to work off of. There's nothing I hate worse than one you got to piece together out of a junkyard with different pieces of sheet steel. So stay tuned. There'll be more videos on this, as well as it coming together. One thing I failed to mention, we did get the cab fans fixed and new foam up there. We're going to be putting all that condenser back together next. So if you like these old tractor videos, thanks for watching. Always more information in the description of the video below. And if you like the channel at all, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out. Again, thank you guys. And if you've been following the channel, this 4020, we finally determined the hydraulic pump has had an internal catastrophic failure. Probably going to be removing the loader off this tractor. Might be putting on this 4620. Then I'm going to have to do some work to this tractor. It's got several leaks, but we're going to be turning the whole front axle and everything out of it to replace the hydraulic pump.